a lot of people are under the mistaken impression that the 401k and or the IRA will be sufficient for retirement, and nothing could be further from the truth. Hey, MCE crew, happy Independence Day. It's Independence Day here in America, and we are celebrating it with coming to you with a rare Sunday video to talk about financial independence. Okay, now we're over here in America celebrating Independence Day. However, independence of a financial nature is something that I want everybody to strive for, no matter where they live. And you know what? I understand that in some countries, in many places throughout the world, that's just not a possibility because of the way things are set up. It's very difficult, damn near impossible, or just impossible for many people throughout the world to capture financial independence. And I think that is tragic. And that's why I'm very grateful to have been born in this country. And I'm very happy to be able to be somewhere where my efforts can turn into money, profit, a financially independent life. Now, is that guaranteed to happen? Absolutely not. But I have a shot at it here. A lot of people around the world don't have that. So having said all that, I want to get into this and talk about one of the financial vehicles that is talked about a lot. And I think that people sometimes rely on it too much. The 401k. The 401k should not be the end all to be all in your financial plan. In fact, the 401k probably will not be enough to carry you through a retirement. And we're going to talk about 3 very important reasons for that today on this video. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Listen, as always, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for all of you who have subscribed. Thank you for, thank you to those who are watching, who comment, like, share, all that good stuff. I am humbled by it and very, very grateful. So let's get started. As always, okay, we do have a link here. I did do some research on this because I wanted to come to you with this topic, but I wanted to, zero in on it. So I looked around and I was able to find some information from Investopedia as one source here. And they have this article, 3 reasons your 401k is not enough for retirement. So let's just jump right in. Although the 401k plan has many benefits for employees who are saving for retirement, it allows them to make salary deduction contributions on a pre-tax basis and also on a post-tax basis in some cases. Employers that offer a 401k can make non-elective or matching contributions to the plan, which means more money for employees. They also have the option to add a profit-sharing feature to the plan. What's more, all earnings to the 401k plan accrue on a tax-deferred basis. So let's jump into that. Now, if you're not participating in your 401k at your job, or if you're a self-employed person, did you know that you can start a solo 401k? Or if you own your own company, of course, you can start a 401k. Now, if you have employees, you need to check with your state to find out what obligations you have to your employees if you start a retirement plan for yourself. But let's talk about these matching contributions. Now, the matching contributions in many ways is free money. When I used to work for Verizon as a management employee, they were matching at the time 80 cents for every dollar that I put in. Now, the way they were, and they were doing that up to a certain percentage. I think it was 6%, if I recall correctly. Now, the thing was, Verizon is a big public company. So they would match with their own stock. So therefore, Verizon stock was not one of the elections that I made for my money to go into. So if you're working for a, Fortune 500 company, you want to check with your HR people and with your 401k plan administrator to find out if they do match, how much they match, up to what percentage, and what are they matching with? It's highly likely that if you work for a big company, they're matching with their own stock. So you don't need to load up on their stock with your contribution, okay? Earnings to the 401k plan accrue on a tax-deferred basis. That's very important. Tax-deferred. So those earnings, while you've got it in there, while you're, working and letting that money grow, the earnings are going to grow tax-deferred, which is going to help them with the compounding effect. However, always pay attention to that word deferred. That means that it will be taxed at some point. In most cases with the IRA, the taxation is going to occur at or after age 59 and a half when you start taking the distributions. Now, you could also get taxed if you withdraw the money before that. Okay, you will face taxation and a 10% penalty from the IRS. So be very careful when it comes to taking money out of your 401k prior to age 59 and a half. So key takeaways here. Although the 401k plans are an excellent way to save, it may not be possible to set aside enough for a comfortable retirement, in part because of IRS limits. So there is a limit to how much you can contribute to an IRA. To a 401k. It's true for an IRA too, but we're talking about 401ks. There's a limit to how much you can contribute in any given year. And so if you add that up, okay, if you started late, then there's more of a likelihood that even if you max it out, it's not going to allow you to have enough money to live 20 or 30 years in retirement, the 401k alone. And then it's also incumbent upon the choices you make within the investment choices you make within that 401k. Because if those don't do as well as expected, then that's another drag on your return. Inflation plus taxes on 401k distributions erode the value of your savings. Plan fees and mutual fund fees can reduce the positive impact compound interest on 401k accounts accrue. One solution is to invest in other things. And see, now it's important for you to realize I'm not bashing the 401k. I think it's an important tool in your financial toolbox. However, if you've ever seen a toolbox, it's got more than one tool in the box, okay? It's not much of a toolbox if it's just got one screwdriver in there, one flathead screwdriver. So you need a variety of vehicles that allow you to grow your money, not just a 401k, not just an IRA. A lot of people are under the mistaken impression that the 401k and or the IRA will be sufficient for retirement, and nothing could be further from the truth, especially in the environment we're in with rising inflation, okay? And that's definitely something that's going to take a toll. And then taxation. Again, we owe trillions and trillions of dollars in national debt, and they're going to get that money. They just hired 80,000 new, or they're hiring 80,000 new IRS agents. And they're not hiring them to sit around the office and drink coffee. They're hiring them to look at the tax returns of Americans and figure out, are we paying what we're supposed to pay? So if you have to dip into your 401k early, as I said before, you'll generally have to pay a penalty of 10%, as well as taxes. That could be another drag on you. Limitations and restrictions on 401ks. On the downside, caps are placed on 401k contributions. IRS regulations limit allowed percentage of salary contributions. In 2020 and 2021, and we do have a video where we discuss this, the maximum contributions to a 401k is $19,500. For someone who makes more than $150,000 per year, contributing the max will give them a savings rate of only 12.67%. And the more someone makes above $150,000, the smaller their contribution percentage will be. So if you think that the 401k is the end all to be all and that's all you're doing, then you're going to wind up in a retirement situation where your standard of living has to come down in quality. The problem is that a savings rate of 12% is probably too low to reach a comfortable retirement. If you're 50 or over, you can add a $6,500 catch-up contribution to that amount for a total of $26,000 in 2020 and 2021, but your money won't have as long to grow. The problem is that a savings rate of 12% is probably too low to reach a comfortable retirement. If you're 50 or over, you can add a $6,500 catch-up contribution to that amount for a total of $26,000 in 2020 and 21. But your money won't have as long to grow. It won't have as long to grow before you actually step out into retirement. If you start that catch-up contribution, of course, at 50. Employers can make elective contributions regardless of how much an employee contributes. But there are limits on these too. In 2021, the limit on total contributions to a 401k from any source is $58,000, rising from $57,000 in 2020. All 401k contributions must be made no later than December 31st. So what they're talking about here is, I guess there are some employers that are willing to, add on this, maybe in the form of a bonus. Now, when I was in the work world, I never saw that, and probably the reason why is because on the one hand, Verizon had what were called associates. They were unionized employees, and so you couldn't really do anything for one employee that you weren't going to do for any other or the other employees of the associate level. And then on the other hand, I guess they felt, and I tend to agree, that we're matching 80 cents on every dollar for the management employees and raising it up. They might have done something like this for, their C-suite top tier executives, but I certainly didn't see it at my level. There are also restrictions on the ways in which employees are able to withdraw these assets and when they are allowed to do so without incurring a penalty. Now, that goes into that liquidity piece, okay? And this is why I say the 401k, it might be a flathead screwdriver, but you need other buckets of money in your financial tool chest, because if you get into some type of situation where you need to come out of your pocket to address a contingency, and you're looking at your 401k plan to do that, they only have a very narrow suite of emergency sub categories that you can take that money out and not be penalized. And it's very, very narrow and doesn't fit most situations. So this is why you need to have a bunch of buckets that some have qualified money in it, tax advantage qualified money in it, like a 401k or traditional IRA. Some may be in the form of a properly structured cash value life insurance policy where you can go in and borrow from yourself and not face any penalties and have liquidity from day one that you have cash value. So there are a myriad of solutions there. So the three reasons, really quick: inflation and taxes. The cost of living increases constantly. Most of us underestimate the effects of inflation over long periods of time. Many retirees believe that they have plenty of money for retirement in their 401k accounts and that they are financially sound, only to find that they must downgrade their lifestyle and may still struggle financially to make ends meet. We did a video about being old, sick, and broke. Oh man, you don't want that. Taxes are also an issue. Granted, 401ks are tax deferred and they grow without accruing taxes. But once you retire and start making withdrawals from your 401k, the distributions are added to your yearly income and they will be taxed at your current income tax rate. Like inflation, the rate may be higher than you anticipated 20 years ago, okay? Or perhaps the nest egg that you have been building in your 401k for 20 to 30 years may not be as grand as you expected, okay? Lack of liquidity, we already discussed that. You can read the article if you want some more ideas around that. So we've got that, and then we got fees and compounding costs. Real quick, the effect of administrative fees on 401ks and associated mutual funds can be severe. These costs can swallow more than half of an individual's savings. Okay, we're just talking fees and compounding cost. We're not talking about the other stuff, taxes and inflation. A 401k typically has more than a dozen fees that are undisclosed, such as trustee fees, bookkeeping fees, finder's fees, and legal fees. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're trying to figure out whether you are being treated fairly or being fleeced. So what you need to do to understand those fees is you need to contact your plan administrator, okay? Go to your HR department and figure out who that is if you are a W-2 employee. When I was at the phone company, Verizon, it was Fidelity. So they're big in that. Yours might be, but check with your HR department, find out who it is, then call that plan administrator and understand what fees that you're paying. Okay, so I think that we have driven the point home sufficiently. Your 401k probably is not going to be enough for you to have a comfortable retirement. You have got to max out, if at all possible, several other tools. So we've got 401ks, IRAs, traditional Roth IRAs, properly structured cash value life insurance policy, permanent policies. We've got a lot of things out there that you really need to take a look at. Health savings accounts. And if you can get yourself into a position where you are maxing all of this stuff out, then I can see you having a very comfortable retirement, all other things being equal. Okay? So, again, happy Independence Day, guys. I know this has been a long one. Thank you again for your support, and I will talk to you soon.